Yes.
Holla.
Welcome to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome in to the first round of your fantasy playoffs and to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host. Also hosting with me is Matt Baker.
That's me.
You can find us at avgffpod.com. You can go there, click the buttons, go to our socials. We are back on YouTube. I think I mentioned it yesterday, but I'll mention it again today.
Back.
So you can go to YouTube and check us out. You can also listen to us on the website. You can go to our Podbeam from the website and listen to us there. You can listen to just about anywhere else you can get a podcast. And yes, Bus, I am going to look into your podcast distributor and see if I can figure out why you aren't getting updates on our episodes, and I'll let you know what I find. Apologize for the late response, but our Facebook page, I don't always get the notifications, and I noticed today I had like 6 notifications on our Facebook page, so I had to go sort that out. So I'll do my best to do the things that need to be done. But anyway, we're going to get into the first week. Before we do that, though, Matt, how are you sitting? I know me and you are in several leagues, so I'll just give a quick synopsis of me. I'm in 32 leagues, 26 of which I am trying to compete. Of those 26, I would say 4 of them are probably borderline teams that I was like, I could have went rebuild, but I decided to push the envelope. I did not get in with any of those teams. So, but of the 26, I did make playoffs in 16 of them. And these are including Dynasty and Redraft.
Yes.
And so I feel pretty good about that. And so I don't know what that percentage is of the 26, 16 and 26, but it's over half. So I feel good about that. Is it over half? Yeah. Because
16 will be 32. So you said like 32 leagues.
Yeah. So
total.
actually,
So
I'm half of the total leagues that I'm in.
Total leagues. Yeah. That's not bad.
I feel good about that. And I don't think I'm going to win championships in all 16, but I'm going to try my best to.
You got a shot.
I got a shot, and I do have some really good teams that I do expect to go far with. I have some first round buys. That is so nice to go look at that bracket and already see your name in the next week's stuff.
On the next one, yeah.
And I was stressing over a lineup today in one of the leagues where I got first round buy. I was stressing. Like, oh my God, do I play this guy this week who's up against this matchup, or do I play this guy up against this matchup?
And
then I'm like, oh, it don't even matter. I'm going to go make my waiver claims, and then I'm going to forget about these fuckers for a week.
It's funny. In one of the other leagues I'm in, they allow the first week buys on those teams to potentially use their bye week score as their next week's score.
Oh, really?
If they want.
That's interesting.
So like at week 14 or this week.
I don't know if I like that. I have to think about that.
Well, you can like say you have your team just goes off all of a sudden this week during a bye week and it doesn't even affect anything.
Right.
You can opt to take that score and follow it into your first.
I imagine you have to claim it before the
next week starts.
So you got to gamble that your score that you got in your bye week is going to win and be better than the week. Okay.
It was just something. It was kind of cool.
From that aspect, I can kind of see it, and I guess as long as it's a rule beforehand and everybody knows,
everybody knows about it. It's all it's all in the open. It's all in the air. He reiterated it. He's like, hey, just so everybody knows, the bye week teams have the option to play their bye week score as their first week score, or they can just write out and see what the team does. So like when you were sitting there saying as far as like you're setting your score and all, that could make a difference.
100%.
In that application. It made me think of it when you said that. So, but I'm not in as many leagues as you. I am in 14, of which there's 10 that I was really, really, really competing this year, or they were like redrafts or whatever. And then
and you got in a couple that were dispersal drafts, and I know in one of them you were fighting to compete, and one of them it was.
Just let it go.
At the beginning of the season, when McCaffrey got hurt, you were like, "Well, this is a rebuild. Time to start getting rid of dead weight."
I'm like, I'm just out here being Elsa, just letting it go. Just let it all go. And it just
with the Elsa reference.
You got to throw that Disney out there a little bit. Shout out to Disney Pixar.
Wait a minute, hit the.
Which one?
The D's nuts one. Hit it. Whenever you say Disney, you got to hit the D's nuts. It's not working.
Nuts.
There it is. but yeah, no. So and of those, I mean, I'm in playoffs, going to playoffs, making playoffs, first round bye, whatever, in 7 of those leagues.
7 of 10. So you're hitting the 70% mark, man.
Yeah, of the 10 I was competing in. So it's not bad. Now, I'm not super proud of a couple of them because they're free leagues, and I kind of just squeaked in, or they allowed,
I'm in on 2 free leagues as well.
And it's like...
Yeah, I got a bye in 1 free league, and part of the reason I have a bye is, and we're in it with me, a couple of people quit playing their teams.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, it's kind of hard to really feel great about it, but at the same time, it's still... I'm in playoffs. Who cares?
And the other thing is, even if I end up dominating, I'm not getting any money. You know?
And you're bragging about to who? Me?
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit? I don't care.
Oh, there's one league. Me and you were playing the first round of the playoffs. I forget what.
Are we?
Yeah, I have to.
Oh, it's me versus you.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. I thought we were playing, and then I went and looked.
Oh no, it's Magnificent 14. They just have you set up against me because you get the bye week in that one. I looked at it earlier. It had us playing against each other in Magnificent 14, but it's not an actual matchup.
I think I was just looking at seeding, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to play Matt this week because I think it was like one of them. We were both in the middle. It was a 6-man league, and I forget that the top 2 had a bye. So I was like, oh, we're 3 and 4, but we are 3 and 4, but this week we're the top 2 seeds. So we're playing the bottom.
So we get the bottom.
Yeah, so that's what it was. I was looking at. Anyway, sorry. So you're hitting the 70% mark on the leagues you're competing, and really, I only count the ones I'm competing because if I wasn't trying to win a championship, I don't hold that against my record. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say 16 of 26.
Yeah.
Now I would like to go in and like weed out those other 4, but to be fair, I was trying to get in the playoffs all the way up until the bitter end. So therefore, I have to throw those in my statistics. Halfway through the season, there's a couple of them I could have said, this is a rebuild. I need to get out. Yeah. But I didn't. I kept in there swinging.
Kept in the good fight.
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, so there it is. So yeah, first round. So congrats to everybody who's in. And look, anything can happen. We are in leagues where we are not the dominant teams, where we barely squeaked into the playoffs, and we're looking at our roster and we're looking at the roster of the guys above us, and we're like, there's no way. But I'll tell you, last year we had a rookie vampire league, and I got in on the 8th seed, barely got into the playoffs, and I won that whole damn thing on the backs of quarterbacks like Drew Lock and what's his face? That's the backup in Tennessee now that was in Pittsburgh last year.
What can I think of? I
had a complete brain.
Kenny Pickett.
No, backup. He oh my God.
Was in
He's at Tennessee now. He's the backup at Tennessee.
Mason Rudolph.
There we go.
I know what to do with it.
You know what's funny is I can't think of the name, and now I'm getting irritated with you for not being able to think of the names.
Because he's like, he knows it. Why doesn't he know this?
Why clearly,
I'm sitting there running through my head.
Hey, idiot! It's this. Like I don't even.
The bad part is I kept wanting to say Malik Willis, and I know 100% that's not his name. That's not who it is. But he's been with Tennessee, and I'm just like, it's not him. It's not him.
Trust me.
So in my mind,
that's what my mind does with everything. I know who the fuck Mason Rudolph is, but my brain was like, nope.
If you'd have said the guy with the gapped up head, I would have been like, oh yeah, Mason Rudolph. That'd have been easy. Yeah.
But anyway, I won on the backs of guys like that, and Tommy DeVito one week. I'm pretty sure I was piecemealing quarterbacks like crazy because of injury, and our rules were, I know nobody gives a shit, but our rules is that throughout the season we would add more spots, to our lineup. And I didn't prepare for the super flex that got thrown in right at the end of the season. And I technically went into the playoffs with only one quarterback on my entire team.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a very good one. And then he got hurt. So then I had no quarterbacks. And then I ended up just grabbing guys off the scrap heap. And anyway, my point being is that you just got to get there. Anything can happen. Then you got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting, make the best decisions, and hopefully we can help you with some of those decisions. And try to scrap your way out. Because in our home league right now, my oldest son is absolutely dominating the league, has been for weeks. And if you just looked at it like that, you'd be like, he's about to walk away with a championship. But I ain't gonna let him have it that easy. I eked into the playoffs with the 3rd lowest score in points in the entire league for the season.
Yep.
And I'm gonna come in that motherfucker swinging. I'm the 6th seed in a 7 seed league, and I'm gonna come into that motherfucker swinging. So So yeah, you just got to get there. So if you got there,
the whole
congrats. And hey, you still got something to listen for and to play for. So glad you're here. So we're gonna hit some news real fast. All right, so Isaiah Guerendo, we don't have anything definitive other than this, that if they had held practice day, he would not have been there. And I'm pretty sure they're a Thursday night game, the 49ers.
Sure are.
So we're not going to get probably any more information until Wednesday on this. So you're just going to have to, unless they come out and say something definitive. But he's got a sprained foot. He's probably not going to practice tomorrow. So Wednesday's the day that you're going to have to decide. I'm of the opinion, and this is, I don't have any inside information. This is just a feeling based off of the fact that Philip What's-His-Face is not what they want at running back. I can tell you based off of their system and their history. That's not who they want. What's his name?
Taylor, right?
Philip Taylor, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not who they want. He is
Patrick Taylor.
He is a special teams guy, has been in the league for years. Israel Abanikanda is the type back that they generally like, fast and decent size. I expect that he is, if Guerendo doesn't play, I expect Abanikanda to start the game. That's who I expect to play, unless they pull him up for practice and he's complete unclean ass.
Yeah.
Now, I think Guerendo's gonna play, but if he doesn't, that's who I would be targeting. I'm not saying don't go get Patrick Taylor. I'm just saying if you can get them both and you got enough room.
Tell your expectations a little bit. Don't expect him to be the guy, but
right. Because Taylor runs like a 4.6 and Guerendo runs like a 4.3 something. I mean, he does as well, but I mean, Abanikanda runs like a 4.3 something. And so that's what Shanahan wants. That's what he likes to have in his backfield. And so anyway, so just that's my 2 cents on that. Zamir White moved to the IR. I mean, this is he hasn't really done anything all season. I don't think it's really affects anybody other than it makes Sincere McCormick even more delicious.
Yes.
So he has the potential to really help some teams going through the playoffs. George Pickens unlikely to play on week 15, dealing with a grade 2 hamstring. I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't turn into something long term if he's out just this week. But it makes things interesting, and I'm sure we'll be talking about in Baker's Bottoms about some potential for some players. I don't know. You got Mike Williams in there?
I do.
Okay. Cedric Tillman is still in concussion protocol as of today, so that just matters when you're looking at guys like Elijah Moore and then the receiver that came in, Wilson.
Yes.
Was it Wilson?
Yes.
No, it wasn't Wilson. I'm thinking of Michael Wilson for the Arizona.
It was Cedric Wilson, wasn't it?
No, it's Cedric Tillman. There's a 24-year-old receiver, like a 6th round pick who came in and did some shit this last week.
Ooh.
And it's a common name like Wilson or something like that. I should write this shit down.
We should.
But that would make us above average.
I'm baffled.
Okay, I have to look at it. Just look at the depth chart of Cleveland.
He's not on there.
Well, who's on
Judy, Tillman, Moore, Woods, and Thrash.
Woods. That's it.
Oh.
What's his first name? Michael? Is it Michael Woods?
It is Michael Woods.
That's why I had Wilson, because of Michael Wilson on Arizona.
Yeah. I was like, this dude's like, he's only been in the league for 2 years.
Yeah, Woods is a fairly common name in my mind. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So it makes Michael Woods interesting because I think he had 4 or 5 targets this last game, caught a few.
He had 5 the week before and 3 this week.
Yeah.
So.
And then, of course, Elijah Moore. So just keep an eye on that. Disley to miss multiple weeks, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Smart for who came in for him is interesting to me. Kenneth Walker is dealing with a calf. He's getting tests for that calf, so that's something that definitely needs to be monitored.
Yes,
for multiple reasons. One, if you got Kenneth Walker, obviously, because you're going to be dependent on him, but also if you've got Charbonnet, because he dominated last week, and if you get another week out of him, you're going to be doing backflips.
Yes.
Aiden O'Connell. So initial reports were he had a season-ending injury. Now it's just a contusion, and bone bruise, and he could actually play this week. Yeah. So I have no clue. No one's playing Aiden O'Connell this week, but it matters for the receiving options whether you have Desmond Ridder or Aiden O'Connell, and it also matters what team defense. I mean, I would still play the defense that's playing the Raiders this week if you already had them, because either one of them can throw picks, but it's way more spicy if it's Desmond Ridder.
True.
And then Trash Panda signing. Where's your button for this? KJ Osborne was released from the Patriots.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
You got a delay with your sound box.
It's like when I touch it, I got to touch it 25 times before it does anything.
That's what she said.
Yes. They released on mutual terms.
Yeah, it was mutual. They're
like, we want you gone too.
I love releasing on mutual terms.
Just saying. As long as everybody's involved and happy, that's all that matters, right?
All right, well, there it is with news, unless you got anything else that I'm not aware of. Just monitor your practice reports and your injury reports and whatnot. You know, there's Herbert's dealing with a leg issue, but I don't think it's going to keep him out. There's a couple other small things out there floating. So,
Josh Allen is taking emails for anybody who wants to tell him other ways that he can break records with touchdowns, because he's gone 2 weeks now and he's run out of ideas. So if you can think of anything, like if he can get 3 receiving, 3 rushing, and 2 passing this week, it'll break another record.
3 receiving.
Yeah, 3 receiving, 3 rushing, and 2 passing. But only if
he's also throwing. Then he could get 3, 3, and 3.
Him and Cooper are working that out right now. They got this whole play figured out.
See, if Cooper never actually catches the ball, he just volleyballs it back to him. If he throws it and he takes off running towards Amari Cooper, and then Amari Cooper pops it hand back to him, that'll actually count as a reception. Yeah, and then he can run it in,
and then he'll get the. Even if he doesn't, if he catches it, holds it for a minute, then laterals it to him, it's still a receiving touchdown. Right. It's just not a reception. Yes,
I have no. I haven't done any research, but I think that only applies if Cooper doesn't advance the ball.
Yeah, if he doesn't go anywhere with it.
Yes.
So if he just sits there,
on that.
Takes a tackle a little bit and throws it back.
That's the only way that rule makes sense to me.
Yeah. It's
anyway.
But he's trying. He's out there doing breaking records and setting new records and stuff like that. So
So email your suggestions to Josh Allen's new record breaking at gmail.com.
At gmail.com, yeah, definitely. Touchdown record breaking at gmail.com.
Yeah, there it is.
Go Bills.
All right. Well, from there, let's head on that Monday Night Football. Oh, sorry. Monday Night Football.
There it is.
Sorry, let that run a little long because I was still trying to find.
Skipping right to the Monday night game. Yeah. Are we just talking all key games?
Oh, no, we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, last night's game. Last Monday night.
Oh.
This Monday night.
Yeah,
the one that just happened last night.
I get that now.
The Bengals and the Cowboys is actually closer than I expected, but I think that's just par for the course with Cleveland. They finally kept a defense or an offense. Or Cincinnati.
It was the same state. That's why I hesitated for a minute. Let you figure it out on your own. But
Cincinnati finally kept an opposing offense under 30 points, so that was good for them. They ended up beating the Cowboys 27-20 to keep their very thin playoff hopes alive at 5-8 now. Both teams are at 5-8. Joe Burrow went out there and just dominated 33 for 44 for 369 yards, threw 3 touchdowns, did throw a pick. And then Cooper Rush had an okay game. If you played him, you weren't hurt. You know, he was my smash of the week, or he's my streamer of the week. And in this league, I don't know if the scoring is different, but he put up 17.82. But I think either way, he was a decent streamer if you did stream him. Chase Brown just did what he did. That guy is so damn electric.
He is.
He's going to be next year. He's going to be an absolute star. He may finish. He may be a league winning back for people this season.
He very well could be, especially where you got him. I mean,
I'm low key glad you didn't make the playoffs in our home league because your backs are. You got Tracy, you got Brown,
and Bucky
Irvin, and those 3 backs, if they get hot together, they could have carried you pretty far.
On top of that, I mean, I had Baker, and I still had some decent receivers.
Yeah. And you had all the good tight ends.
I had all the I had McBride and Laporta. Yeah, Disley. Well, Disley had 1 week, anyways.
But yeah, so it was. But Chase Brown's so good, dude. Mm-hmm. I am glad I got him where I got him, and next year in redrafts, I'm going to be trying to get more of him. Rico Dowdle finally getting the workload that we've been wanting. 18 carries. He got 131 rushing yards, no touchdowns, but it's still a good week. If we can get that kind of usage out of him, he's going to be real nice to have during this run. Ja'Marr Chase, man. God, this guy's too good.
He's a cheat code.
He's an absolute cheat code.
Double covered, triple covered. It doesn't fucking matter.
Wide open.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
14 receptions for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. The one at the end to seal it where he just caught it, did a spin juke thing and left his defender in the dust and took it all the way to the house. Yoshi Voss got him a few receptions. T. Higgins wasn't really involved, but what T. Higgins brings for Chase is it forces the defense to have to not completely focus on Chase, and it allows a little bit of soft cut. And I won't say soft, but I mean they're still hyper focused on Chase, but they can't just hyper focus on him and forget about Higgins. CeeDee Lamb had a good game out there, 6 receptions for 93 yards and a touchdown. It looks dwarfed in comparison to what Chase did, but somebody you probably want to go grab is Brandon Cooks. We talked about him last night on waivers. I mean, he only caught one ball. It was a touchdown, but he was targeted 3 times. But this was his first game back, right?
Second
game back from coming off an injury. The first game he only played 39% of the snaps and had 7 targets.
He missed 8 weeks too.
Yeah,
so that's a long downtime.
He played 60% of this, but I think as long as they're in contention and they're fighting, then he's going to be very valuable.
True.
And they play Carolina next week in Tampa. Those are 2 great matchups for wide receivers.
Yes.
And then Gesicki, whatever. Ferguson, I think this is just the same kind of with Cooks. It was his first week off of an injury, and Schoonmaker had been getting usage, so they can't just completely forget about him. And so he took a couple targets, but I think Ferguson's also going to be nice for this run. But overall, it was a decent game. Mainly it was that Cincinnati offense that was out there doing some work. Burrow did get banged up in this game a little bit, but he played the whole game, so I don't think it's anything too concerning.
He gets a little banged up each game. I think he takes a couple hits more than some other quarterbacks that shall remain unnamed. Don't get called on anyways. Like I don't know.
Are you talking about Patrick Mahomes?
No, it rhymes with Patrick Mahomes. No, Burrow does take some hits though, and he takes it and gets up and shrugs it off, and he's not getting hit, and then trying to call the ref's attention every time he's falling to the ground.
Hey!
But
you can't let him just hit me like that.
I got State Farm or whatever it is. But yeah, no, he does seem to take some hits. That O-line's
not a sponsor, brother.
He's got to, right. He's got to get rid of the ball real quick. I mean, I think you talked about that last night. How quickly he was getting rid of the ball.
I had Micah Parsons in this game, and our defense players are set up in our league where sacks will absolutely be amazing.
Just
one
destroy
sack,
people.
One sack, I think, in our league is like a 5 or 6 point play by itself.
All by itself.
And so I was dependent on Parsons. I thought I needed a win. Thankfully, everybody that could have knocked me out of the playoffs also lost. But I was really hoping Parsons would step up. But I was just the Bengals. It was like snap 1-2 gone. Yeah. Snap 1-2 gone, and then you do that enough, and you get the kind of defense back on their heels a little bit. And then they were only rushing 4 at times, and Micah Parsons is great. He's a really good pass rusher, but his strength is not when they're only rushing 4 and he's one of the 4. That's not his strength. His strength is on the blitz, or if you at least send one more, they can't just focus on him because he's not big. He's fast.
Yeah.
And so if they can scheme him right, they can hold him off. And when they were rushing 4, he just wasn't getting the pressure. Towards the end of the game, he started getting a little bit more pressure, but he just wasn't able to get home really. And you're right. It was just they were getting rid of the ball so quickly out there.
Yeah.
And so it also protects the quarterback, But he did take a couple of hits, and Parsons got him a couple times after he got rid of the ball. So, but yeah, I think if Cincinnati can get any kind of continuity with their defense, they could make a pretty decent run. But their defense is just atrocious.
It is. It's very bad. This is the defense of old.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost Jesse Bates last year, and Trey Hendrickson's out there trying to
do
salvage
everything
things,
he can.
but there's only so much you can do when you got a bunch of rookies that are like blinded. They don't know how to tackle.
The secondary
they're all trying to do arm tackles and falling down to the ground before they even get to the guys, and it's.
I could not believe
bad.
the amount of times Ja'Marr Chase was just wide the fuck open.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just like, what are we doing? And I don't know if they were trying to play him man. Or if they're just playing a soft zone or whatever, but it's like I didn't really. I watched it, but I wasn't like. I guess I should have paid better attention. But either way, I think either whether they're playing man or zone, it wasn't working.
Yeah,
so
it was not.
All right, well, let's hit on some key games. We'll kick off for week 15, our first round, with the first game on the slate. We're going to kick off Thursday with the Rams are 7-6, trying to they are staying alive for their playoffs, and the 49ers both in the mix, especially for that West. Right now, Seattle is leading the West, but these teams are both still fighting for spots. Both quarterbacks are in play for me, Stafford and Purdy. San Francisco has not really been that dominant defense this year that where you tried to avoid them. So, Stafford's he absolutely was on a heater last week. He's been in 4 of the last 5 weeks. He's been a QB1. He's been the 5-8 QB22. Even when he's QB22, he still scored 19 fantasy points.
Yeah.
And then the QB9, he's thrown at least 2 touchdowns in each of the last 4 games, through 4 in the one 4 weeks ago. So, I mean, I'm probably going to try to stay in the flames with him if I've got him.
Yep.
Over a lot of other quarterbacks that I throw out there. I'd play him over Purdy in this game. Purdy got back on the saddle last week, finishes QB7 on the week, and looking nice. And that Rams secondary is not something I'm scared of either. So yeah, I'm both quarterbacks are in play. Of course, you're playing Kyren Williams. I mean,
yes, definitely.
And then whoever's the starter for San Francisco, and then nobody else.
Yeah,
we'll even if they come out and they say Juszczyk's going to get the ball, you're like, all right, well, I'm playing Juszczyk.
Play Juszczyk the whole time. Yep, he's my guy.
Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, absolutely money in the bank. Especially Puka's going to get 107 targets,
and he'll catch all of them.
Yeah,
even if it costs him his arm, life, and leg.
If he doesn't catch it, he's going to pay an arm, whatever, and leg to try to catch it. Juwan Jennings, he is actually the only 49er receiver I'm willing to play with any confidence. Deebo Samuel, to me, is borderline droppable at this point.
It's been bad.
He has not got double-digit fantasy points since week 10. He has been the wide receiver 57, 71, 82, and 55 in the last 4 weeks. He made a tweet today that said that he's the same old Deebo. He just ain't getting the ball. Is his problem, and then he deleted it. So there is a little bit of issue there, but I don't know, man. But the problem is the matchups. He's got great matchups coming up. He's got the Rams, and then next week he's got Miami.
Yeah.
And so you in the Detroit's, whatever. But the next 2 weeks you were like, man, I really like to have him, but I can't trust him, man.
It is.
I'm tired of getting killed in my lineup, so I'd rather just get rid of him and not have to deal with it.
If you're gonna play him, at least put Kittle in 2. That way Kittle gets all the points for both players.
Yeah,
because that's what he's going to do.
Playing with Juwan Jennings.
Well, you can split the difference and imagine they both got the points.
And just for the record, you need to start treating Juwan Jennings like a top end wide receiver. I know he had 2 bad weeks, 12 and 13, but you got to remember 13 was that snow game. I don't really take that into account.
Yeah, no.
And week 12, he still had 7 targets, caught 5 of them. But outside of that, he's been the wide receiver 16, 7, and 6 last week. He is their number 1 receiver. He's the number 1 option that Purdy wants to go to. So if you think Purdy's going to be successful, then Juwan Jennings is also going to be very successful as well. George Kittle's in play, and we already talked about how atrocious any tight end is for the Rams. So anything else you want to add on this game? I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. Both teams are needing dubs.
Yes.
And so I think it's going to be a dogfight.
Yes, that is definitely true. It should definitely be a good game.
All right. Let's scroll on to talk about let's go to the Miami Hurricanes. 6-7 are playing Hurricanes. Did I say the Hurricanes?
You said Hurricanes.
Wowza.
What are we in the 90s again? What's going on here?
Yes. No, that's a college team.
No, I know that. Wowza, though.
I don't know. I figured if I'm going to say the Hurricanes, I have to say wowza for some reason.
I got you. That makes sense. I get
anyway,
it.
The Miami Dolphins are playing. I was getting texts at the same time, so my brain was distracted. Are playing the Houston Texans. Again, Texans I mean, they're pretty much sealed up play as long as they keep doing what we're doing. But the Dolphins are fighting for playoffs. Tua's on a heater right now. We talked about it last night, but I'll just remind you: last 4 weeks, QB 10, 3, 7, and 5. Wow. I mean, he is absolutely feeling it. He is connected with his tight end Jonnu, and finally getting some love out there to Tyreek. CJ Stroud, on the other hand, we warned you at the beginning of the season. But he has not been very good. Last 4 games, QB 18, 25, 11, 25. So this will at least be a week where he doesn't finish 25 based off of that pattern.
Yes.
But against Miami, I'm definitely willing to put him out there in a pinch. I would definitely play Tua over him. I would play the last 2 quarterbacks we talked about over him.
Yes.
But, I mean, if he's all you got, he's all you got. Achane, yeah. Mostert, nope, and nobody else. Joe Mixon, yes. And I'm not playing a Goombawale unless – my name is Austin, and he's in our fantasy league because he's rode with Ogumawale for inexplicable reasons since like week 4.
Yeah,
as his RB2.
It's been bad.
Yeah, and he'll say he did not make the playoffs.
No,
but yeah, you're playing Achane, you're playing Mixon, and then you're getting the fuck out of Dodge with the rest of the running backs there. Tyreek is in. Talk to me about Waddle. I know that you got him today in a quote unquote trade in our Pirate League. You gave up when you win, you can give a player to get a player from the guy you beat.
Yes.
And so you gave up who to get him, and tell me how you're feeling about
Westbrook.
Akine,
and he was been on the tear, and last week was kind of soft. But I'm looking at Miami.
He finished as wide receiver 12 this last week. The week before, you must be talking about week 30.
I'm talking about Westbrook Akine last week.
Oh, my bad.
Not Waddle. Yeah, no, I'm talking about. That's why I traded him away to get Waddle. I like Waddle's matchup for the rest of the season. I talked to one of our other league mates, Andrew, when he traded away Tyreek Hill, about how I like the playoff matchups that Miami has for playoffs. For fantasy, implications. I got to play Houston, San Francisco, and Cleveland, all 3 teams who are pretty soft against the wide receiver. And when you give up Tyreek Hill, Waddle's going to get the same love, essentially. In the last 3 weeks, 9, 4, and 12, and he still scored over almost 10 points in each of those.
Yeah, he's been the wide receiver 3, 36, and 12 in the last 3 weeks.
He's had good 3 weeks, and he's got 3 soft matchups coming up for playoffs. So I'm just thinking if I'm going to have a shot, I need somebody that's going to be more guaranteed than Westbrook and Keene. So,
I love it.
It's definitely a better play to put Waddle out there than Westbrook and Keene. So,
Nico Collins on the other side, absolutely. We need to talk about it. Tank Dell's the one that he's kind of in the same Debo. He's in the Debo boat for me right now.
Yeah.
He's actually been better than Debo, but I don't know. But they're coming out of the bye, and they got the matchup. I'm playing him in our home league because I don't have a whole lot of options right now. And I'm hoping this is where he finally has a game. So, it is what it is. So that's one of those, if you got him, you probably got to play him.
Yep.
Jonnu Smith has been absolutely money in the bank.
Even when he didn't play the whole game, he still came in overtime and lit it up for you. I mean,
last 4 weeks, tight end 3, 2, 4, 7.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a league-winning tight end right now. And then Dalton Schultz, last week he had a good week. Finally, he has done squat all season,
year. Even with 6 and 8 targets. I mean, it's still been minimal.
I mean, the targets have been pretty much consistent. His play time's been consistent. It just finally paid off a little bit last week. Plus, he got the touchdown.
Yeah, you got that.
So he's one of those. If he doesn't get you a touchdown, you're probably having a bad week out of him.
Yep.
So there's that game. Anything else you want to throw on that pile? All right, let's roll on to the Washington Commanders, our football Manders, are 8-5 at the Saints 5-8. The Saints are still in the mix, despite only having 5 wins.
Yep.
So they're still trying to keep their fantasy hopes alive without their quarterback, who's going to be gone the rest of the season, even though he's not going on the IR. I guess that's one of those. They don't want to put him on the IR in hopes that maybe if they somehow make the playoffs, he'll be available. So anyway, Jay Daniels is in. Hainer, we're not even going to talk about that. If you're playing Hainer, then how the fuck do you make the playoffs? Let's see, Brian Robinson. We'll talk more about him in a minute, but yeah, you're playing him. Alvin Kamara is in like Flynn. Kendre Miller is interesting only in the sense of he had 10 carries last week. coming immediately back off of the IR and threw him in, gave him 10 carries, got a touchdown. I mean, I guess if you're in a multi-flex league and you're super desperate and you're looking for some kind of upside and there's not a lot of options, you throw him out there and hope that he's getting he's going to get another shot at a touchdown. But I'll probably be avoiding that and just maybe a prospect ad, just throw him on the bench, see what happens. And he'd be a good cuff right now.
Any Kamara owner needs to have him in this playoff run. If you're in the playoff run, you should have him definitely. Just as usage last week tells you that, in my opinion.
McLaurin, yes, he's in. He's money in the bank. I'm not playing any receiving options with Haener out there, even at tight end. I guess Juwan Johnson, if you're desperate at tight end, would be the only receiving option. I'd be willing to play on the New Orleans side.
Yeah,
and then Zach Ertz, yes, he's just, I don't know. I mean, he's had a touchdown the last 3 weeks. He's not. I mean, he's been the 5-7-15 tight end. So yeah, he's 812, but he just keeps getting love.
It's a decent matchup too. I think the Saints are a little soft against us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, tight end.
Let's see. Let's talk about.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Talk about love. All right. The Bills 10-3 are at the Lions 12-1.
Whoop whoop.
You're playing the quarterbacks. Yep. Although Goff's a little scary just because of how good the defense is for Buffalo, but you're not benching him.
Stafford did pretty good last week.
Yeah, True that. And Goff is at home, and his home and away splits are, he definitely loves being in his friendly confines.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope Cook gets back on track this week. I don't need another week like last week.
Right.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it. They're both RB1s. They're both fantastic. Khalil Shakir, I'm playing him with the utmost confidence. Amari Cooper, I mean, last week he got 14 targets, caught 6 of them. And so, maybe they're starting to utilize him more, or maybe it was just the game script. I don't know.
That's more than he's had combined for every other week he's played with the Bills.
True
so,
that.
I mean, it says something when you get that many targets. So.
Would you play him or Jameson Williams in this matchup?
I would have to hear about whether Keon Coleman's playing or not. If they say no Keon Coleman, I'll play Amari Cooper.
Okay.
But if Keon's out there, then I'm going to play Jameson Williams.
That's fair. Amon-Ra St. Brown's in your lineup.
Yes.
Dalton Kincaid, talk to me about that. He's on our waivers in our league, and no, he's on our waivers in your league.
Yeah.
And I didn't put one in for him because I just went and looked. He's been unclean, dirty ass pretty much all season.
Just about the entire season. When he's out there, he's getting enough targets to where he should be doing good.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Like I said, I wish I had all the time in the world to physically watch every game so that I could see if these targets are true targets and he's missing them, or if it's like, he's the closest man to him when they throw the ball down. Because that still counts.
What about him or Juwan Johnson, the tight end for the Saints?
Juwan Johnson.
It's crazy, even with Haener out there.
Yeah, I would actually prefer Haener to be out there.
Yeah,
I think he's going to dump the ball a lot, and Juwan's going to be his best friend.
Yeah,
and I don't know, and I don't even know that we don't know if I haven't heard anything about Kincaid actually coming back this week either.
Yeah,
he's been out for 2 weeks now, and I mean at this point.
I mean, Knox hasn't been any better, so it's like I'm avoiding that whole tight end situation if I can.
Knox gets so much less targets, like they don't use him in that.
Kincaid's the upside play. I mean, you could get one of those games where those 10 targets he's been getting, he catches 8 for 100 yards,
and that's what we're waiting on.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep, the bottom will fall out,
but it's hard to predict, and you could just as easily get a 4-point game as you could a 20-point game out of him.
Exactly.
You're playing Laporta, who also hasn't been great, but here in the last 3 out of the last 4 weeks, I'll take that back. He hasn't been horrendously bad, but he's
been very spotty.
Yeah, it's kind of what Kittle was in the past. Yeah. Off and on.
One good week and then a kind of bad week, and then a good week and then a good week. And
but I'm far more comfortable with him than Kincaid at this point.
Yes, same here.
All right, let's see. The Steelers 10-3 are at the Eagles 11-2. The Eagles to me are a lot. I don't know what's going on with their offense, but they've won 9 straight, and you're playing Jalen Hurts because you're going to get at least one tush-push touchdown. and that's going to save your week no matter what.
He's got, what, 13 now?
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen was trying to tie him in one game.
I am fading Russell in this game, and we'll talk more about him later, but I don't trust it against Philadelphia. They're just that good. And he's going to be missing his top receiver. Najee Harris, yeah, I'm playing him. Jaylen Warren, I'm playing him. He's going to Warren. You're not getting any upside, but you're getting a solid floor.
Mm-hmm.
And Najee's got all the upside in this. He's actually been pretty damn steady, those last couple weeks, and he's getting all the work. So he's not going to give you generally RB1, but he can give you some solid RB2 numbers. And if he, with potential to get into the RB1 territory.
He's definitely the volume play. Yeah.
Yeah. Saquon, you don't sit Saquon. He is he's my don't of the week. No, I'm just kidding. He's only a Daniels don't if you have him and you're playing against me.
Yeah, or me. And then if you're playing him, I strongly suggest
benching Saquon Barkley.
But everywhere I have Barkley, he will be in the lineup.
Yes.
So just to put that up there. Yeah. But because I don't trust my opinion, so
I don't take my own advice.
Exactly.
But obviously, you're playing Barkley. There's nothing to be talking. This is a record-breaking type year. He is absolutely destroying, averaging over 100 yards a game just in rushing.
Yes.
They said, I heard a statistic, and I don't know the numbers, but I know what they said. His second half rushing this season, just his second half of the game rushing stats or running back stats would equal to the RB4 for the season.
That's amazing.
That's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fucking bonkers, dude.
So Barkley's a second half running back.
Barkley's two running backs.
He is. He's like
you get the first half Barkley and the second half Barkley.
Yeah. Hey, I like that.
He's a 2-for-1 special. He's the McCaffrey of this year.
He is.
Let's see. Calvin Austin. Is it Calvin? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Last week without Pickens, he had 4 targets, didn't really do a lot with it. Mike Williams had 4 targets, caught 3 of them. Mike Williams, to me, has the talent to end the upside. He is the upside play in this.
Yes.
And then Van Jefferson's, he got 1 target for 1 catch and a touchdown. And he finished with the highest fantasy points out of
all of them. Yeah.
So that's a very murky situation. Me personally, if I had to pick just one, it's Mike Williams.
That's
because again, he has all the upside.
Yep.
But he also could goose you. So good luck with that. AJ Brown. There's rumors coming out that there's beef between him and Hurts right now and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's true.
It makes sense. He's gotten half the targets this year that he got last year. I mean,
it sucks because after this week, Pittsburgh's tough, but they got Washington and Dallas.
Yeah,
which he could absolutely win people championships if they get their shit together. Devonta Smith, he got on track last week, got him a touchdown, 6 targets, caught 4 of them. So yeah, you're playing both of them, but it's scary when your quarterback's only throwing for 100 yards a game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at both of these guys' numbers as compared to last year around this time. I mean, they're literally nearly at the halfway mark of what they were. So
the last 3 games, 179 yards, 118 yards, and 108 yards for Jalen Hurts. That's a very small pie to distribute.
Yeah. Well, it's because Saquon is so good. They're so good at running the ball.
A lot of it's Saquon.
They have no reason to throw the ball. And then by the time they do get up, it's like it's dip and dunk kill the game time. I mean, we need a first down, hit A.J. Brown for an 11-yard out, and then all of a sudden.
So if Pittsburgh could push him, maybe we get more passing in this game and force them. Plus, it doesn't seem like Jalen's seeing the field well right now, so maybe they can get some film study and be like, look, these people are wide open, bro.
Yeah.
So you don't need to tuck it and get a 2-yard run out of bounds. You may, dump it off here or throw it here.
Pittsburgh can figure it out. I mean, they can set them right a little bit. I think they can come in. Their defense is good enough this year that they can kind of straighten things out a little bit.
So the last 2 weeks with Pat Freiermuth, he's been the tight end 6 and the tight end 5. He's got a touchdown both weeks, so you can kind of stay in the flames with him in this matchup.
Ride it.
And then Calcaterra got his first touchdown of his career last week. He only had 3 targets, so he hasn't had more than 5 targets in a game that he started without Goddard. So he's not a smash play, but he's a desperation play with a touchdown hope.
Yep.
All right, let's see. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 7-6, leading the South currently. And they're at the Chargers 8-5. Baker Mayfield's in play. Justin Herbert he's definitely in play. We'll talk more about him in a minute. Bucky Irvin's dealing with his back issue. So that's something you got to be we're going to have to monitor, see what happens. But him or Rashad are both in play. Whoever starts, if the other one's not there, they're smashes.
Yes, definitely.
Which Rashad's healthy, so it would. But if Bucky starts, Rashad's still in play, but he obviously is a deep flex play at that point. Gus Edwards, the run game is just not real good right now for the Chargers. So if you don't get a touchdown, you're going to have a bad week. And even with a touchdown last week, Gus wasn't great. Kamani Vidal is the upside play, but he's still, only playing 50% of the snaps and only got 8 touches last week. So I would try to fade this backfield with every ounce of my being if I could.
That's a big increase, though, for him.
Oh, yeah, it's a big jump.
It's a big jump.
He's trending towards getting far more work.
If this moves into, 60, 65% this week, then I feel really comfortable.
Vidal's definitely a prospect I add if you can get him on a roster just to see what happens.
Yes.
But I would play Sincere McCormick over both these guys, even if Madison does play.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely more acclimated in their offense and everything now, too. It's been 3 weeks now. He's been out there, right? So,
Mike Evans, yes. Sterling Shepard, I'm playing him. It's not going to be, again, you're talking about a floor play.
Yeah.
But the last 3 weeks, he's had 7, 7, and 6 targets. He's caught 5, 4, and 4, and he's not going to win you a week, but he's not going to goose you either. McMillan is the upside play. He hasn't done absolute garbage for the majority of the season, and then last week he had 7 targets and caught 2 touchdowns.
Just like boom, here I am, sucker.
So I don't know if that was just an anomaly or if that means that he's going to start trending towards getting more types of those plays. But if you're looking for upside, you're a 6 seed playing the 3, and you're not looking good.
Yes.
Then you can maybe throw him in the lineup and hope that you can catch lightning in a bottle another week. Hopefully McConkey gets back this week because he is the play for the wide receiver room with the Chargers. But Quentin Johnson is Jekyll and Hyde for sure.
Very much so.
But he got back on track last week, caught 5 balls out of his 7 targets, got a touchdown. So he's somebody you can play both of them, but I'm more confident with McConkey. Cade Otton, yes, he is absolutely the play here. Stone Smart is somebody we'll talk about in a minute, but if Disley is going to be out, if Stone Smart there, he came in last week for Disley and immediately had 3 targets, caught all 3 of them for 54 yards. He's a more athletic tight end. He's more of an Isaiah Likely type, where he can stretch the field and kind of play a little bit of that move tight end. So he could be real interesting as we go into these weeks. So he's somebody you need to be looking at too. So, all right, anything else on that one?
That's it.
All right, the Sunday night game is the Green Bay Packers 9-4 at the Seahawks 8-5. The Seahawks are leading the West right now, and they are, they're kind of on a heater as a team. Jordan Love has not been the QB that we were expecting all season, but he hasn't been horrendous.
Yeah,
he's just been a fringe 1, high end 2. So Seattle's a plus matchup, so you're going to play him and just hope that you can get one of those big games. But Josh Jacobs is kind of the same reason as what we're talking about with Barkley. When you get these dominant running back performances, your quarterback doesn't have to throw when you're inside the 20, or the inside the 10. You just give it to this guy twice and he's in the end zone. And so just hope that maybe you get some touchdowns outside the red zone. Geno Smith, as good as they're doing, he's not doing good in fantasy. He has not been better than a QB 19 in the last 4 weeks. He has not broke 16 fantasy points in the last 4 weeks. So I'm probably fading him if I can. Josh Jacobs, he's a smash. We need to talk about whoever starts for Seattle, they're a smash. Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet. The wide receiver room, oh my God, for Green Bay. I thought Jaden Reed was a smash, but he goosed you last week.
He did. He only had 2 targets. So.
Yeah. Last week, Romeo Doubs had 6 targets. So,
or he had 1 target. So, but that's another one that I'd like to have watched the whole game to see.
I saw the target he got. He caught the target, but I think I'm remembering this right. It was like a 3, 4, 5 yard catch, but there was a defensive holding,
so it got caught.
or something, or a pass interference. So, or there might have been an offensive penalty. Either way, there was a penalty that negated his catch.
Gotcha.
And then he never got another target. And that was like at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
I don't know. I kind of feel like this is going to be everybody's upset and mad, and all of a sudden Reed's going to put 20 up on their bench. It'd be hilarious.
I mean, their most consistent receiver right now is Wicks. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 5 targets, caught 4 in each game, but he hasn't broke 10 fantasy points. So
yeah, it's just
Watson's your upside play here if you're looking for anything big down the field. He had 7 targets last week for 114 yards, caught 4 for 114. But again, he's not very consistent. If I had to pick one, he's probably the one I pick. Just because of, maybe you get a bomb touchdown.
Yeah.
JSN, yes. DK, yeah, you're playing him, but good Lord, where'd you go, DK? You were out 2 weeks, and then you had the bye, so you missed 3 weeks, and since then, you haven't been better than wide receiver 28 in a week. You're not killing people, but you're definitely not winning anything for people.
You're definitely hurting their feelings.
Yes. And so hopefully they get that. I know he's banged up too, so there's something to be said from that. And then Tyler Lockett can get the fuck off my roster, to be honest with you.
Done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just put him out to pasture. I think that
it was a good run.
It was a good run.
Yeah. It was a good run.
And then you're playing Tucker Kraft. He's been pretty consistent last 3 weeks. He's not giving you like tight end 5 numbers, but he's definitely, like I said, being consistent. And then you're not touching any tight end for Seattle.
Neither are they.
All right, the Monday night. I guess. Whoa,
there's 2 Monday night games. Is
there 2 Monday night games or 2 Sunday night games?
2 Monday night games.
Yeah. Yep. 2 Monday night games. So the first one is the Bears at the Vikings. The Bears are 4-9. The Vikings are 11-2. Yeah, I mean, Caleb's in play just because of the volume, the pass volume that they're currently having to do. He's been the QB 4, 5, and 18 in the last 3 weeks.
And one of those was against Minnesota already. Yeah. He was
right.
QB 4 on that week. So threw 47 times for 340 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, and so, I'm definitely – and this is inside in the dome. Sam Darnold, you're playing this guy. He has – 4 of the last 6 weeks he's been a QB1.
Yeah.
And so you're playing him, and you're going to feel pretty good about it against Chicago. If I cannot play DeAndre Swift, I'm going to do it. But if he's starting, he's the one getting all the runs. So, although Roschon Johnson might be out, and it's going to be interesting to see his usage, because since they tried to utilize him more, he got hurt, and then they had to go back to their old ways.
Yep.
So I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll have to see. Aaron Jones, put him out there. Cam Akers got a little run last week. Didn't do a ton with it, but he had 5 carries. So the last 2 weeks he's been playing over 30% of the snaps. So he's definitely not somebody you're going to put in your lineup at all, but it is taken away from Aaron Jones. So a little bit. DJ Moore, he's the only wide receiver I play with any kind of confidence, and it's still not a lot of confidence on the Bears side. He was a 4-7 and then 36. So sandwiched in between 2 wide receiver 3s, basically, or a low end 2 and a 3. He's had 2 wide receiver 1 performances. So
the last time they played Minnesota, Keenan Allen finished as wide receiver 6 with 15 targets. So
I mean, if you got Allen,
Minnesota's given up so much to wide receivers, there's a good shot these both can potentially put up points.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's going to get targets. So hopefully, it could be one of those where he gets a couple tuds. Roma Dunze emerged last week, but I don't know if that's a fluke or something, some kind of change for the future. So, again, that's a play at your own risk type deal. Justin Jefferson, and unless you're playing me. If you got him and Barkley, you bench both if you play me.
Yes.
Or Baker. Jordan Addison. Talk to me about Jordan Addison. I mean, 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's been – not just good, but fucking dominant.
The dude.
Is this something? Is this prescriptive, or do you think this is just matchup based? And again, one of those weeks was against Chicago when he was the wide receiver 1 on the week.
Yeah, exactly. And which is crazy. It was 8 points less than what he scored this last week, where he was wide receiver 3.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. It's definitely. It almost feels like. Like last year we had that Devonta Smith and AJ Brown kind of situation where AJ would blow up one week and then Devonta would blow up the next week. Where
they both blew up last week, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like what these defenses kind of it's Atlanta. Atlanta kind of went soft against it all.
That's true.
This back half has been terrible for Atlanta, and they've just been allowing everybody to score touchdowns. So but I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's hard to really say because I know Chicago essentially shut out Justin Jefferson 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and Addison balled the fuck out. So
right, and so no, you're right. Generally, if Addison does good, Jefferson's
a lot under it. So it's almost like they're just stacking it up against this one, and they don't realize that Addison can be that guy. And so, I mean, I think it'll be different this game because they realized where they fucked up last game, just allowing Addison to do all the work.
Yeah.
But I still think Addison's in play.
He's definitely an upside play. I mean, you throw him out there and you hope you get one of these weeks like last week where he put up 39 fantasy points. But I would venture to say you're probably going to get something more along what you got in week 11 when he put up 15 fantasy points, which isn't terrible.
That's what I'm thinking, too. It's going to be like against Green Bay where he put up, 18 or whatever, or against Tennessee where he put up, 11,
So
12,
I think you can be okay with him, but he obviously has the potential to win you a week, too. So,
correct.
So he's definitely in your lineup. And then Cole Kmet, man. He goosed last week, and he's not been good this season. I mean, the first half of the season he was all right.
Yeah.
Second half of the season, since Keenan Allen's come back, mainly, he has been virtually non-existent. So I'm not playing him at all.
Nope.
And then T.J. Hawkinson, you're playing him. He's been the tight end 3 weeks ago, but he hasn't been anything special the last couple of weeks. But I think it's going to pick back up this week, and we'll talk more about him in a few minutes. So there it is on that game. Anything else you want to throw in?
That's it.
All right, last game we're going to talk about on the week is the other Monday night game. The Falcons are 6-7. This is going to be a barn burner at the Raiders that are 2-11. I'm not playing any quarterback in this game.
Nope.
Bijan, we just talked about who we're playing. Bijan.
Yep.
Algier, if you're desperate.
Probably desperation.
McCormick.
Yep.
Madison, if he starts.
Yep.
Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Jacoby Myers. That's the three that I'm playing there. And then Brock Bowers. Anybody else you're willing to throw in there?
Play Brock Bowers twice.
Yeah.
As many times as you can get him out there, you want Brock Bowers out there.
Yeah. Some people will be like, well, one up Pitts is some plus matchup because Kyle Pitts sucks.
Yeah, and there's no plus matchup for Kyle Pitts.
No, there's nothing plus about Kyle Pitts.
No, it just doesn't work.
No, he
had 6 targets last game.
The jury has deliberated and they've come back and the jury is out. He's garbage.
He's fantasy garbage. Yes.
But all right, well there it is with the key games on the week. So from there, let's get in on some power bottoms.
Unless they happen to be power bottoms.
What's a power bottom?
A power bottom is a bottom that is capable of receiving an enormous amount of power. Actually, Mac, you got it backwards. You see, a power bottom is actually generating all the power by doing most of the work.
Does the power have to do with the size or the strength of the bottom?
Now, Dennis, I've heard that speed has something to do with it. Speed has everything to do with it. You see, the speed of the bottom informs the top how much pressure he's supposed to apply. Speed's the name of the game. Right, buddy?
Right, buddy? All right, so power bottoms for this week. Running back wise, hinging solely on the fact that I personally do not feel Bucky Irving is going to play. He left the game with a back injury. He was questionable because of a hip injury. There's also, I read an article today that he's dealing with something with his right ankle. Dude had an amazing run. He's an amazing running back, but I don't know that he needs a break. I think he's going to end up not playing this week. And Sean Tucker, under 4% of leagues, is out there almost everywhere. And I think given opportunity, he finishes RB1 like week 5.
Yeah,
like the RB1 on that week.
Yeah,
and he has the potential to win people. Even if Rachaad White's out there, he's still going to get used because, Rachaad White gets that break a little bit. But Sean Tucker's only owned in 4% of leagues. And I think if you go get him, you'll be happy about it.
Now, this will sound like I'm not saying that you should get Tucker, but let me say my complete statement. Mm-hmm. The Chargers' run defense is very good. And last week, Rachaad White was very efficient as a runner, which is not what he generally does. But he was also playing against a shitty rush defense.
Yes.
So playing against a tough rush defense, the real Rachaad White is going to show back up and not be very efficient, which then can lead to the better, because Sean Tucker is the better running back of the two. Him getting more work so that in the run game, and then Rachaad White maybe being relegated more to just the pass game.
The third down stuff and everything. Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a path for Sean Tucker to be relevant just based off the fact that Rachaad White's not going to be able to run the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
And that's if Bucky doesn't play.
Yeah. I mean, like this last week, even against Las Vegas, like Rachaad had a good week, but Bucky touched the ball Sean touched the ball 3 times and got 47 yards.
Right.
He averaged almost 16 yards a carry.
Right.
So, that should tell you, even against the Chargers, tough. He can get 3 yards, 4 yards a carry, which is going to be more than what Rashaad's going to get. So,
and Sean Tucker's a hammer. So he's one of those. If you give him enough work, he can soften a defense.
Mm-hmm. And then right behind that, we talked about it earlier a little bit here and there. Mike Williams for Pittsburgh, with Pickens missing, with the hamstring and everything. Mike Williams is owned in 12% of leagues. That's a little high for Baker's bottom, but it's still not owned a lot, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a good week to play Mike Williams. I think he's going to be utilized a lot more. They're going to get him out there. And he's also that big body receiver that can kind of box out the defender and come down with those passes that Russell Wilson likes to throw.
Yes.
Where
he's a 50-50 guy, just like Pickens.
Exactly. Pickens is one of those that's going to go up and get it. Without him out there, they need somebody that's going to step up, and I think Mike Williams does. So 12% of leagues, it could definitely be a big
Mike Williams is the upside. He could have a 3-touchdown game easily.
He very well could. And then last but not least, my tight end, Daniel Bellinger. They lost Theo Johnson, went on IR 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. This last week, we've talked about Bellinger in the past about
how
he's athletic
flashed.
he is, and he's had flashes and stuff like this. And now with Drew Lock out there quarterbacking, which we know he's not a really big, accurate downfield ball passer. He likes the little short stuff. He likes to use,
your mom's a ball passer.
She is. She's a ball holder and passer. I don't know personally, but I've read memoirs.
Yes.
I've read the memoirs. But I think Bellinger's going to be a solid play. He's only owned in 2% of leagues, and I think if you're in desperation for a tight end, if you had you were riding with Will Dissly and you lost him or something, and you can't, you could potentially pick up Bellinger. It's a decent matchup too for tight ends. So I think it could potentially work out in your favor. So
since you brought up Dissly, I have an honorary tight end Baker bottom, and that's we talked about it a second ago. Stone Smart.
Yeah.
I would not be scared to throw him in a lineup. Again, if I'm trying to run guys, I mean, this may sound completely insane, but I would be apt to play him over. What's his lips for Buffalo? Any of the Buffalo Titans?
Oh, Knox or Kincaid?
Or Kincaid. Just because he was on limited play last week and caught 3 and still got 50-something yards.
Yeah.
I feel good about that offense, the Charger offense, and their usage of them wanting to use the tight end. And with there's a reason we all been hyping Dissly.
Yeah.
And I think Smart might be a better receiver and be able to do more with the ball after the catch than Dissly can anyway.
And
so
he's definitely younger.
He can be a more explosive
and more
tight
agile.
end.
Yeah, definitely.
And so for me, he's also somebody I would be willing to throw in if I lost like a Dissly or something like that too as well. So
hell yeah.
All right. Well, from that, let's hit on our favorite drop for the don'ts.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That was also me when I got knocked out of the playoffs in our Dynasty League, our home Dynasty League, by you and your lovely wife. I just needed one of you to, which I lost anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was projected to win until Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase bitch slapped me.
Annihilated.
But I needed one of you two to lose, which in hindsight now, it's not y'all's fault, because had I had one of y'all lost and then I still lost, that would have pissed me off.
It would have been even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you had an opportunity that was outside of your control and then what was in your control cost you to lose, that would be a lot worse. Yeah, I get that. But I told my wife she had to win. So
yeah. Well, she did.
She said, I have to win. You're not telling me shit. And I'm like, yes, ma'am.
I knocked you both out in our home redraft, so turnabout's fair play.
I essentially knocked myself out.
Yeah. No, I didn't knock you out, but I kept your wife out.
You did keep her out.
Yeah.
I had to have a miracle to make it in that league. So,
all right. Well, here's my don'ts for the week. Number one, I mentioned it earlier. Russell Wilson at Philadelphia. Philadelphia has given up on average 15.3 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. If Russell puts up 15, that's not going to kill you, but it's definitely not any upside there. I would play Cooper Rush this week over Russell. I would play Bryce Young. He's playing against Tampa this week. No, he's playing against Dallas this week, and I would play him in the Dallas game. Either one of those two quarterbacks over Russell Wilson. I don't like it. Pickens isn't going to be there. Mike, it could get crazy. I just mentioned that Mike Williams could have a 3-touchdown game. The probability of that is very low. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. But if I'm somebody desperate for upside, then I play that. And if you're really desperate for upside, maybe you grab Russell and play the stack and then hope that they do have a 3-touchdown game. And maybe that's the only way you think you can win your fantasy matchup. But if I'm not looking for that kind of upside and I'm looking for some stability, I'm staying the fuck away from any of that receivers and Russell Wilson in this game, because Philadelphia is good at locking them all down. If Freiermuth would probably be the only receiving option I would be even considering to play for the Steelers. So there's that. And then the other, I only had 2 don'ts. Well, technically 3 because 2 of them were on the same team. The Cleveland Browns run backs, I'm not touching any of them. Yeah. I don't want shit to do with them. Kansas City is tough against the run, and they don't have any established dominant runner right now. I think Ford's their best runner, but they really want to get Chubb to try to get something going. They're not playing for anything right now. And so I just don't – they have no run game, which is why Jameis is having to throw 14 picks a game, because he's having to throw a billion times. And so I don't want anything to do with that. Do I think Jerome Ford could have an okay game? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But then again, they could just keep giving the ball to Chubb and not let Jerome Ford have a good game.
Have an opportunity.
You know, if I knew for a fact, I'll say this, if they came out tomorrow and they go, Jerome Ford is going to be our number 1 back and Chubb will be used in a limited role, then I would play Ford, even against Kansas City. I think Ford is good enough that he can do enough to not hurt you in fantasy. I don't think he's going to go out there and light up a scoreboard or anything.
Yeah.
But he can get you 10, 12 fantasy points. But just based off of the ambiguity of the backfield right now and just the usage of both of them being used and neither one of them really being dominant, this isn't one of those backfields where each guy can get 10 to 12 carries and they be, dominant. They're not an H-hand. These guys need 20-plus carries to be good, and they're not going to get that unless one of them gets hurt and whatnot. So I don't want anything to do with the Cleveland backfield.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, there's the don'ts. So from there,
I have an honorary don't.
Oh, no, my bad.
I do have an honorary don't, if that's okay. This is a Baker's don't.
A Baker's don't.
Anthony Richardson playing against the Denver Broncos this week. I would much rather play Mac Jones than Anthony Richardson this week. That might be stepping out on a ledge, but I'm saying like the Denver's defense is really, really good. And here's one thing I wanted to point out just for it's still he's a Russian quarterback, he can get points with his feet. Lamar Jackson in week 9 played against Denver. He was QB6 on the week, okay? And because of that, he rushed 3 times for 4 yards, and he averaged 1.33 yards a carry.
Yeah,
that's the best rushing quarterback that that Denver Broncos have played all season is Lamar Jackson. And now Anthony Richardson can't throw the ball nearly as good as Lamar Jackson can. Not. Lamar Jackson was QB6 because he threw 16 completions for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's why he did so well. Anthony Richardson is not going to be able to do that. He's going to go out there. If he gets you 8 points this week, I will be ecstatic. I will be super surprised. I really don't think he's going to do anything. You look at Lamar's numbers.
Yeah,
that's the week they played against Denver. He's the rushing quarterback like Anthony Richardson's supposed to be. So I don't think Anthony's good enough of a quarterback passer to do good enough against
Well,
Denver.
their O-line is a lot. There's a lot that encompasses that. Their O-line is garbage.
There's so much bad there.
Yeah, and so he's going to be running for his life that entire game.
Coming off a
if
bye,
he does anything, it's going to have to be with his feet too.
And if they
their
can shut
corners
that
are locked down,
it's going to be a
Josh
bad
Downs
day.
may or may not play. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad day if you have to play Anthony Richardson. I would desperately try to find another pivot. I'd play Russell Wilson before I'd play Anthony Richardson.
Oh wow.
I mean, and that's me, and I know it's your don't.
Yeah, no, actually,
I just kind of.
I mean, I would too if I had to pick.
In that kind of situation,
two.
yeah. If I can get something, I just don't think Anthony Richardson is going to do that well at all this week.
All right, we'll hit that kaboom buttons and we'll talk about our smashes.
Kaboom.
Hey, it worked the first time I pushed it. That was pretty nice.
All right, my quarterback smash of the week is Justin Herbert versus Tampa. Tampa is a dumpster fire when it comes to defending the pass. And so I expect Herbert. I need Herbert to go out there and have a absolute dominant week. I need a top 5 finish from him. That would be amazing. That's what I'm projecting. And so there it is. Herbert versus Tampa.
Nice.
And he's going to be at home. So
my quarterback smash this week is someone who's going to throw the ball more than any other 2 quarterbacks in the league this week. Jameis Winston,
to which and that goes to both teams.
Just saying, it's going to be spread everywhere. This might be another 700-yard game for him.
If you include the pick 6 yardage,
all the pick yardage, it's going to be a big game. But I mean, we already know, like you said in the don'ts, you don't want to trust that backfield. There's not a lot there, so he has to throw the ball a bajillion times.
Yeah,
which we've seen it since he started. He's averaging 40 attempts a game, and I just don't think Kansas City's had to deal with someone who's going to throw the ball this much. And against Kansas City, who's already a little soft against the pass anyways, and they're a good enough team that they're going to score back. So this could be a shootout. This could be like a 36-28 final, and of course Cleveland's going to lose. But you're going to see Jameis Winston throw 2-3 passing touchdowns, of course 2 or 3 interceptions, but he might go for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns and then 3 interceptions and still get you 24 points on the week. So I think he's going to have a big week against Kansas City. So.
All right. Well, I think that's within the realm of possibility. Aiden O'Connell did it a couple weeks ago, and someone else lit him up. Herbert lit him up pretty good, and then Bryce didn't light him up, but he did pretty good.
He did, yeah. He did pretty good.
Well, actually, Herbert didn't light him up. He did.
Yeah.
But they're definitely not shutting down the pass. And one thing is, like we talked about, Jameis if he's going to throw it 40+ times, the defense is going to get at least 2 picks.
Yeah, at least 2 to 3. Yeah, they're going to get some points themselves.
So play Kansas City's defense also.
Yes.
This isn't my. I didn't think of this originally. I heard this on another podcast, but it is 100% true. You generally don't play a defense against a quarterback who you think can throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Jameis Winston is the exception to the rule. He can throw for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and your defense can still score double digits because he'll also throw 3 pick sixes.
Yep.
And he'll probably fumble it 2 times.
There'll be 2 picks, 2 muffed handoffs. It'll definitely be.
And if you score tipped passes and stuff, there'll be a few of those.
Yep.
Passes defended. So you can definitely play both sides of the ball against and you can do it. Generally, you don't play. I don't like to play a team defense that's playing against the quarterback that I have on my team.
Yeah.
But if I was to have Jameis, which we all know would never happen, but if I was, I would still play every week. I would play the defense,
whatever defense
that's playing against me.
You'd stream his opposite defense,
yes,
all season long.
Yes, absolutely.
I get that.
All right, who's your running back smash?
Running back smash this week, playing against Carolina, Rico Dowdle. Actually,
I love it.
He showed me some flashes this last week. I actually
100%.
watched the game. I like the way he's running. It looked really good.
Well, if they give him the bulk, he can do it.
They keep handing him the ball. He keeps pushing for it. And I mean, he had a couple really nice runs, 14, 18-yard gashes. So I think he's going to have a big week against Carolina.
And Carolina's run defense is like if me and you were playing defensive tackle.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah. I think if me and you were playing defensive tackle, would be like Buffalo's run defense. It would be like if me and you and like half of J.J. Watt were playing, then it would be Carolina. That would be it. It's just a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, if we each got to carry like one of his legs, it would be we could swing it at their, Yeah. So anyways, who's your running back?
If they split T.J. Watt in half, and you get the left half, so it's one half you,
and
the other half
T.J. Watt,
and then I get the other half. So it's one half me and one half T.J. Watt, and then we in that body then had to play defensive tackle for the Carolina Panthers.
It would be that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what the run
I would be
defense
slowing him down like a mother. Just so you know,
the T.J. Watt half is going to be doing the bulk of the work.
He's going to hate me. He's going to hate the half of me.
It's going to despise carrying my half fat ass around. When there's like half of my mouth's going to be breathing heavily, and the other half's going to be cussing the side that's breathing
just
heavily.
Yelling at it, yeah.
Anyway, that's a weird road that I took us down.
It was
well, you started.
It was bumpy, but we got there.
My running back smash of the week is Brian Robinson for the Washington football McFootball Manders. At the Saints. The Saints aren't very tough against the run. The Washington's coming off the bye, and I think Brian Robinson is chomping at the bit. There is no Austin Eckler to take away touches. There is no established person that's going to be taking a whole lot of touches away. So I think he's going to be utilized a little bit more in the pass game than he generally is as well. I'm not saying he's going to be coming the pass catching back. McNichols will still come in on third downs and things like that. But I think Brian Robinson will be more balanced run back attack, and I think he's going to have a really good matchup against the Saints. And then my wide receiver smash is Garrett Wilson versus Jacksonville. He got back on track last week, and I think the Jets are desperate for a win right now. Jacksonville's a good place to go when you're desperate for one, and I'm thinking they want to get Garrett Wilson some more touches, get him fired up, get him another touchdown or 5. And I think he's just going to have I think he could potentially have a league-winning type week this week.
I need that. I need that in bling. So you're not competing. So
no, I
not
go get the title, homie. Go get the title.
I'm working my ass off. But we go back to that other game with Brian Robinson. That's one of my wide receiver smashes.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin. I think he has a big week this week against the Saints. I just hope that the Saints can actually kind of hold that score up to where it's not.
Yeah, that's the hard thing.
That's
about the
what it is.
Game.
But
that's part of the reason with Brian Robinson, which I forgot to mention, is I think they're going to kill the game. They're going to get a lead and kill the game, and Brian Robinson's going to be a big part of that.
There's
you
I started thinking about
the points that they get are because of McLaurin.
All because McLaurin moves it down the field, and then Brian Robinson gets touchdowns and stuff like that.
Look, if McLaurin just catch one long bomb and then a couple decent passes, you'll have your nut.
It's a big game, yeah. And then to finish it out, tight end wise, I said Jameis Winston was going to have a big game. It's got to be on the shoulder of somebody.
Yeah.
It's going to be David Njoku.
Yes, please.
I mean, David Njoku is a monster. He's probably their number one receiver when Pickens isn't there.
Yeah.
Or not Pickens. What am I talking about? Cedric Tillman isn't there.
Yeah.
And Njoku is the man there.
Yes.
Atkins shows up a little bit here and there, but not enough to affect it in any way, form, or fashion. And I think Njoku has one of those weeks you're talking about where is league winning this week.
Yeah.
He's going to be the beneficiary of
and I need it in your league. In your league, because I had him in Disley.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't have him in Otten. Anyway, never mind. I still need it, though.
Yeah, but no, Njoku's going to have a big week this week, I think. And like I said, if Winston's going to do good, Njoku's going to do good. So,
well, I talked about him a little bit earlier when we were doing our key games, but TJ Hawkinson versus Chicago, I think he's going to get him a touchdown this week and start getting a little bit more usage. Everybody else is getting fed. It's time to feed your top tight end.
Yeah.
He's been kind of mid since he's come back, and it's time to get him out there and, like I said, get him on the scoreboard. And I think all the guys that I picked, my goal in finding smashes this week is I wanted to go find people who weren't necessarily too far down the line, but weren't at the top that I thought could potentially finish in a top 5 region of the fantasy for their perspective positions. So I think that all these people that I picked could be a top 5 play, and so if you play them all and they all finish there, then you're probably going to win your week. So
hell yeah.
Well, there it is. Good luck in your first week of your playoffs. Unless you're playing against me, then you can go suck a bag of wieners. And I'm not talking about the dog. There you go. A whole bag of these nuts.
These nuts.
Yeah. But outside of that, I hope y'all have a good one out there. And if anything we say or do helps you get to that average place in your league, that means we did our job. Because if you finish average,
You don't finish last.
So y'all have a good one out there, and we will talk to you next week. I'm not guaranteeing a DFS. But we're going to try real hard this week because it's been a couple weeks.
Yes.
So y'all be good. We'll talk to you
later.
Holla.